What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So here lately I've been talking a lot about PlayStation, only because it's been in the news like almost every day, and just recently they talked about Xbox, so I figured I might take a break and talk about some Xbox stuff. Depending on when this video comes out, I already did another PlayStation video, so I don't know if I'll get this out first before the other PlayStation video, or the PlayStation video will come out first and then this will be second. But here we are. I'm going to talk some Xbox news real quick to kind of break up the whole PlayStation stuff. Just recently, Xbox just announced they're doing a lot of layoffs. They just had over 3,000 layoffs, and they're probably going to be doing even more layoffs into the year 2027. A lot of people have been talking about it, but I've heard a lot about the factor that, you know, I know a lot of people are upset about it, or at least I know a lot of people are talking about it, but from what I could tell, especially from this post, there are a lot of people that probably just needed to go. It seemed like they didn't care about the games, they didn't care about the studio they were with. I mean, this guy here didn't even like being at Xbox. Okay, so yeah, there's probably a lot of people that probably just needed to go. Hopefully with this Xbox reset, it could pivot into the possibility of maybe Xbox might come back a little bit. I doubt it, because this is another thing I want to talk about, and that is basically Ashish Sharma had admitted that Xbox Game Pass didn't exactly work out like they wanted to. For some odd reason, they had these high numbers of wanting to reach 77 million people on Xbox Game Pass, which proves my point that they want everybody on that stuff. Subscription-based service plans for everybody. Pay subscription services for all your stuff. That's the ecosystem they really truly want. They don't really want you to buy digital. They want you on an ecosystem of monthly payments every fucking month. If everybody does it, they get a lot more money that way. So that's why they're pushing so hard, and why I think they're still wanting to push it so hard. The CEO, and I'll even show it here, the CEO of Xbox even has an ambition of reaching more than 1 billion people each day. Each day, not year, each day. I don't think they even reach those numbers in a year, I don't think. And they want to do it each day. This is exactly what I'm talking about with a lot of corporate people are so beyond out of touch. This reminds me of the time I used to work at, I'll mention it because it's the only time it actually happened. Movie Gallery. Movie Gallery was at its last legs there for a while, and they were trying to compete with Netflix. And what they would do is they used to do this service plan. I think it's called Power something. I think Power Play or something like that. But they did this service plan to basically try to get people to come in and rent their movies, and basically be like a Netflix where they have their rentals all the time. Like they can rent a movie and then they didn't have late fees as long as they were part of this plan. And we had to meet a quota every fucking day. And with that, I was constantly being harassed by my boss to constantly sell the stuff. And she was always saying like she met these numbers, and I kept telling her, it's just like, yeah, the reason they meet these numbers because you lied to the people that you sell this stuff to. And I was trying to tell her and explain to her it's impossible if you have a population of only 3,000 people and maybe 500 people rent videos, and only maybe even half of those people will even do a service plan. You're going to be very, very, very limited on getting who you got. But they kept saying, no, you have to meet this quota every time. Even if you meet the maximum of the people in your area, for some odd reason, you have to get these magical numbers out of your butt to make these sales quota. I know, unrealistic, right? But it was always coming from the top guys, the corporate guys. It was always coming from corporate. And that's the same thing with this here. It is always from corporate that doesn't understand this stuff. Hell, I remember Tomb Raider's reboot had to have this unrealistic measurement of selling 8 million copies to be profitable or some stupid shit. And they sold like 4 million. They were profitable, but not this astronomical nuts. I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. I have no idea, other than I think they're just trying to appease investors that want more money. And it's just like, there's a cap. The same as I worked at Movie Gallery back in the day and trying to tell my boss there's a cap. Well, guess what? These corporations, these Microsoft and stuff, there's a cap. There's gonna be a cap. No matter how much you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to meet people, you're gonna have a cap no matter what. I don't get this. I don't get this idea that there's somehow these magical people that will somehow magically come up and buy stuff. I don't understand this. And it's just like you're unrealistic with your stuff. There is a cap. You can't go any further than that. Just accept it and deal with it. Maybe you might get that a little bit more, but you're also going to lose a lot more, especially if you pivot in a certain way. You just are. Now, this one is rumored. Whether I believe it or not, I hate rumors in a way. I really do, because unless I see somebody say concrete proof, anybody can come up with anything. I mean, I heard people saying like there was going to be... I heard the rumor that GTA 6 was going to have a disc in December, but now with the recent announcement that they're not going to make PlayStation discs anymore, it's just like, well, that rumor is pointless. I really fucking hate rumors, which I'll come back to that later in this video and why I made the thumbnail that I made. So the rumor has it that the next Xbox will have a disc drive to be able to have her physical discs. I think Xbox uses Blu-ray discs. I think they do. And I think if they do use Blu-ray discs, I think they get it from Sony. I'll have to look into that. But if that's the case, and if Sony is stopping production for all of their manufacturing of discs, why would Microsoft do the same thing? That doesn't make any sense. Unless they're getting it for somebody else, which I'll get to that here in a minute. But that would be cool if that was the case. But I don't know about that one. But you know what? It would be smart to do that. Would it not? To go their route? Because that's what everyone's pissed off about. But to be honest with you, if they saw this back in 2013 with the Xbox One and try to push that shit on that console, more than likely, they're going to do it with this next console. They were wanting to do it back then. I still think they want to do it now. PlayStation, they have this new boss. He's an idiot, and that's probably why they're pivoting away from it, because of AI. I think it's going to be the same thing here. I think the next console will, in fact, not have a disc drive. It sucks, but I think that's what's going to happen. But here's the thing. I know she's not going to watch it, but let's just say she does watch this video. Let's just say, hypothetical, that she watches my video. It'd be a miracle, but let's say this. So, Asha Sharma, you want to know how you can be able to really win the next console cycle? Have a disc drive. Yeah, have a disc drive. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? I think that would be the way that Xbox can really make an impact in the next generation. You know, get with Toshiba. Do you all remember those HD DVDs? You know, well, granted, not those things, but if Toshiba can make those, maybe there's a new way to make new discs that can hold their own information. You know, their own proprietary format, and they could be able to, you know, have their cake and eat it too. You know, make your own discs, work with Toshiba, make discs, you know. So now this next console can play physical games, you can have your digital games, you can rework your Game Pass. And that's kind of my point is that what they need to do is like, maybe they ought to do it where they can release the digital version first, and then if people who really want to collect, then release the physical one later with all of its content. Or release the physical one first and then release the digital one later. You know, either or, do something like that. And then once everything is said and done, then release it on Game Pass. Don't just dump it all at once. You know, that way your consumers will have choices. It'd be so great, you know? Choices, that, you know, what fucking people want. You know, what you can get on PC. A choice, where you can get your games for a good price. You know, and here's the name, Xbox Forever. You have forever choices. It would work, wouldn't it not work? Wouldn't that be great? And you could use that name, Xbox Forever. You have forever choices. You can play your games forever. You can play them forever on Game Pass. You can play them forever if you buy it individually on digital, or you buy it on discs. They can last forever on Xbox. Wouldn't that be a nice slogan? Here you go. And that's how, and I can tell you right now, if Xbox doubled down and actually release physical media for people and say, hey, here it is, guys. Look at there. We have physical discs. We have this. If they just do that and come out and swinging, they could make such an impact the next generation. They would make such a massive impact because people still buy physical media. They still want to. There's a vast portion of people that still do. So imagine having not only you consumers that buy digital, physical, and do Game Pass, you have an ecosystem that can last a lifetime. Hence the name Xbox Forever. That'd be great, right? But you're not going to do that, are you? You want to know why? Because Xbox is a corporation. It's owned by Microsoft. They are a corporation. They do not think creatively. They are not going to go this route. It just wouldn't be smart. It wouldn't be feasible. They have to appease to the investors, not you as the customer. Consumer. That's why they're not going to do that. That's why the next generation Xbox will not have a physical drive. It would cost a lot of money to try to either get it from Sony and getting Blu-ray still from them, who are supposedly going to shut that down, or it's going to cost them a lot of money to go to somebody else and get them from somebody else to do physical, discs. So I highly, highly doubt that this rumor is true. I'd be happy if it was true. I would be very, very happy. But I don't believe it. But speaking, if we're going to start making rumors, I'm going to put this on my shorts. I'm going to put the name of the Xbox Forever logo. I'm going to say that somebody gave it to me, and I'm going to put it on my shorts. Now, we all know, whoever's watching it is going to know that that's not true. But let's see how long this rumor mill starts. Because I know they're not going to put the disc drive in the next Xbox. I know it. Maybe if you're smart enough, you know it. But they're not going to do it. It's just going to be a watered-down PC. And it's not even going to be a good one either. And it's going to have Halo that could possibly be run by Activision or made by Activision. There's rumors of that too. So if we're all just going to shove around rumors, I'm going to do that too. So Xbox, that's going to be on my shorts. I'm going to talk about that. Maybe it'll get spread around. I hate rumors. I really fucking do. But let's just see what happens there. I would really love for the factor that Xbox could take that ball that Sony is fumbling, take that ball and run with it in the next generation. But I just don't believe it. I don't believe they're going to do it. They are a corporate entity. They have a corporate mindset. They're not going to go that route. They're going to go the best way to generate the most money. For maximum, they're going to do the best thing they can to maximize profits. And if it means that they're going to have to do this one route, even though it would not make sense right now, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do the discs drive. They're just not. It sucks, but hey, it is what it is. I really hope they would be, but that's probably not going to happen. I would love for it to be. I would love for the factor that they would do this, but it's neither here nor there. And I'm just rambling on and on and on. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys all in the next one. You all take care.